Now today we study the chapter 13 about data structures. The first one, part 1, data structure in C. In the chapter array you study the data structure, and now we study the other, the first one struct, the second linked list. You know, a data structure is the particular organization of data in memory. You study arrays, and now with the structure in C. For example, you have an airborne aircraft. There are many different information for one airplane. So we can group them together in a struct with a name. We use the keyword struct with the name, flight type, and inside we have many information. They are elements for the struct. We can use for declaring the variable plan with the name of the struct flight type. And inside, in the variable plan, so you have each element, the memory location for line numbers, memory location for aspect, and altitude, etc. And if you want to work with each element of the struct, we use dot operation. And we can define and declare at once, for example, plan. So that type plan, that is variable, like Iceman over here, and we can assign the value to each element. And we have the other keyword of C, that is type definition, type def. We have a new name for the current type, for example, color for integer, for example, fly for struct flight type, for example, AB type, struct AB type. We can use AB group instead of using struct AB type for declaring variables. For example, over here, Calabiso 500. That's an array of 500 integer. And plan 1, plan 2, so they are struct flights. So on that we have memorization for each element. For example, flight number, altitude, longitude, latitude, etc. We declare the array of struct. For example, plans 100. So we have 100 struct flight. And then if you want to work with each element of each struct, that's an element of an array plan. So we use dot. For example, you want to work with the element altitude of plan 34, so we use dot like this. The same is the writing this, so we can write like this, the same. We can declare pointer to struct, for example, plan PTR. So we have pointer to struct flight. We can receive a request of a struct. That's an element of the array of struct. So we have plan 34, that is struct, and we can get its address, and we can assign it to the pointer plan PTR. We have the object star plan PTR, and we want to work with its altitude. I will assign this value to this element, and we can use this over here. So we write star plan PTR. That's the object. Instead of writing this, so we can use the pointer with the arrow. Instead of using the object, we can use the pointer directly. It points to the element of the object pointed to by the pointer plan PTR, the same. And we can pass struct to functions. Because there are so many different elements in the struct, so normally when you pass struct to function, we usually use pointer. So in the function, we can change the value for each element. For example, over here, we go to the next data type. We can define that's the enum, that's the C keyword. We can define the name. For example, months, we must list. Over here now, we have the name, but in fact, that's the data type or the value you can use it to assign to variable. Over here now we use enum months on the variable code month, and we can get the value from the list over here. We assign it to this variable. At that time we say we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we assign marks to code month. We have 2, which are assigned to this variable. So it's important to remember that if we map enumerated time into integer, over here now 0, 1, 2, 3 to 11. We have an example for this. Over here, in a weekday, we have some times from 0, 1, 2 to 6. Over here, we declare variable n. We initialize with 1. Okay, and over here now we have month, like 0, 1. Over here, 1 plus 1, you have 2. And now I2, so we have 2 plus 2, and we assign 4 to I, and we can print it out. And we have the other, we call it unions. Unions are similar to swap, but members share the same memory location. Why? When you study UC, it's so useful for something called polymorphism. For example, with this, so we have 3 elements inside. Over here, we have the union student union. That is data type, and we use type definition. So we have the new name student U, and we can use for declaring the variable stu, and then we can assign the value to the element U in or GBA. So they have the same location, so depending on the value you use. So we have a value to that location. So when you stay with me in person, I give you the full program for this. At that time, we can choose the type, data type that you want to work with, and then you can use the union over here. So we call it variable, that is variable of union data type. You remember dynamic location? So when you want to use dynamic location, for declaring dynamic array, pay attention to use malloc or calloc. Please check if it's new, so we don't have the dynamic array to work. So at that time, you could work with the array, so we can bring out and we can exit the current profile. Pay attention to really the dynamic array. You remember the function phrase over here? We have two examples of our struct. The first struct to functions, and the second array of structs of students. When you stay with me in person, so I will show them